Welcome, everyone. We're happy you've joined the Library Skills webinar team and Jennifer Long, who's presenting about managing your sources with Zotero. We'll have a few minutes at the end for Q&A, so please hold your questions to the end when you'll be able to put your questions in the chat. Please make sure you stay muted during the entire thing until we open up for questions. Everyone will get a follow-up email with the recording in the next few days. And you can take it away, Jennifer.
Okay. Hopefully everybody's seeing the Zotero homepage, just to make sure everything's good. Okay.
Yes.
So Zotero is a free, easy to use tool to help you collect, organize, annotate, cite, and share research. To get started with Zotero, you just go to the Zotero homepage, which is zotero.org. You can Google it. And then you need to download the software, which includes the desktop version of the library and a connector for your web browser. So the first function I'm going to go over is collecting, or how to add items to your Zotero library. So here is the Zotero connector for the web browser. And what will happen is when Zotero detects that you're on a page with a source, it will say you can save it to Zotero. And all you do is you click on the icon. And there are different icons for different types of sources. And this is the icon for a journal article. So I just click on it. It shows me the status. And when the box disappears, it will be available in my Zotero library. And what it does, it collects the bibliographic information, an abstract or a summary of the journal article, and then it will also attach the full text of the article as a PDF file. If you click on the arrow here, you can see the attachments. I just want to show you quickly. You can go into the full text, and you can use the annotation tools up here to make notes to yourself. So I'm just going to do a quick example and highlight a sentence. And then to close it, you just click on the X to go back to your library. So let me just go ahead and show you a few other examples. You notice the icon's a little different. This is a web page. I just click on the icon. It shows me the status. And when the box disappears, it'll be in the library. So with the article, it attached a PDF file with the full text. For a web page, it generates an image of what the page looked like on the date you accessed it. And once again, you can use the annotation tools to make notes to yourself. And then just to kind of show you a different variation of this, if you're on a page that has multiple sources, I'm in the library's discovery system, it will display a folder. And what you do, you can go in and select multiple items that you want to collect. And then you just click on OK. And showing the status, once again. So you'll notice it was able to attach the full text for one of these journal articles, but not for the other one. I do want to mention the show. This can be helpful. If you do 50, it'll show 50 items in the capture box. Okay. So I just want to mention, there was one it couldn't find the full text for, but it is available. So what I could do is I could save that to my computer, and I just want to show you some other methods. So capture, the method I just covered, is the most popular way to get things into the library, but there are other methods, and they're available in the toolbar here. So here's the item without the full text attached. I can use this button right here, which is the add file, add or attach file. And if I've saved the PDF to my computer, I just need to attach it. Select the corresponding file. And now the full text is attached. So you can just manually attach files to items. The other way you can use this is if you already have a bunch of journal articles on your computer as PDF files, you can try to create references from those PDF files. And the way you do that is you just go back to this Add or Attach Files, and this time do Add File, select the PDF file, and what it's going to try to do is look at that PDF file and extract the metadata. And what you always want to do is check the completeness. So this looks pretty good. So now I have the bibliographic information with the full text attached. Let me show you another example. Once again, it's trying to extract the metadata from the PDF file. And in this case, you notice all it could bring out was the title and the author. We're missing all the information about the journal. So this is kind of what it looks like when there's not a lot of metadata and it fails. So I'm just going to opposite mouse click on this, and I'm going to do the undo retrieve metadata. So what I'm going to do is try to bring in the reference information using a different method. So this is the item that I'm trying to capture or try to bring in, trying to collect. So you can do the capture up here, but I want to demonstrate another method. So I'm going to copy the DOI number, go back to Zotero, and just show you another button. So this is the Add Items by Identifier. Just going to paste the DOI. You can also do the International Standard Book Number, Digital Object Identifier, which I'm doing, PubMed IDs, Archives IDs, and ADS BIB codes. Those last two you only use maybe in the field of physics. Just going to press Enter. So now you'll see I have more complete bibliographic information, and you can just drag and drop the corresponding full text onto it. So the next button I'll go over is creating a new item. You just select the type of item you want to add. I'm just going to do artwork as an example. And this is basically just manual entry. One thing I want to point out about the author field is if you're doing a personal name, you want to make sure you have two boxes. If you're doing a group author, you want to switch to just the single field. And then I'm going to also add in the year. So this is just manually entering the information about an item. As I've kind of showed you before, you can always attach files, and Zotero can support a lot of different types of files. So I can also do an image file. So now I also have a picture of the artwork. And then finally, the last button I'll go over is adding notes. And you can do a standalone note or a note that's attached to an item. So I'll attach it to the Starry Night record. And basically, it's just putting text in. And now you have some textual information. Okay, so that's all the different ways that you can collect or add items to the library. So I'm going to move on to the second function, which is organizing. And the way you organize your references in the library is you create collections. So I'm just going to click on the New Collection button. You give the collection a name, and then you create it. So there's nothing in this collection, but if you go to My Library, this is a master list of everything that's in your library. And I'm just going to select all the journal articles. And then to add them to the group, I just drag and drop. So now when I click on Octopus, you'll see those 5 journal articles. So I do want to mention if you opposite mouse click on the collection, you'll see some other options. So you can do sub-collections, you can rename the collection, you can move it, you can copy it, you can delete the collection, and you can delete the collection in items. Same thing with the references. If you opposite mouse click, this is another way to add it to collections if dragging and dropping is kind of hard. You can remove items from collections, you can move them to the trash. So there's lots of other options if you opposite mouse click on items. Okay, so there's 2 other ways you can organize items. I'm not going to cover them in a lot of details, but you can do tags and related items. And I can cover that at the end if there's any questions. As your library starts to get a little bit bigger, you might find it helpful to be able to sort and search your references. And so the way you sort is you can just click on the column headings to sort them by those items. I do want to mention under View, you can add in more columns, so you can customize it. And then once you've added it, you can now sort by it. So up here's your search box. If you click on the arrow, you'll see all the different options. So you can just do like title, creator, year. There's also an advanced search function. I'm just going to do the default. So let's say I'm looking for items in my library that contain that keyword. It's showing me there's 2. And you can search within the full text if it's indexable. So that's sorting and searching. So I'm going to move on to the third function, which is citing. And this is basically how you get the items in your library out of Zotero in a particular citation style. And once again, there's some different ways to do this. Before you do what I'm going to show you, you do have to go in and tell Zotero what style you want to work in. So the way you do that is you go to Edit, go to your settings, and there's 2 places. You need to go to Export, and under Quick Copy, you select your style. So you see I have APA 7th selected. Then also under Cite, you'll need to select it here as well. And then I want to mention that Zotero comes preloaded with some of the more popular styles. If you click on this, Get Additional Styles, there's a repository, and this contains every single style that's available. And if you want to add it to Zotero, you just click on it, and it'll now show up in the list. And you use the minus and plus sign to either remove or add items. Okay, so once you've done that, it knows what style you want to work in. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just Quick Copy. And all this means is you just take what you want to cite, you move it into your applications, for example, Word or your email. And what it does, it outputs the reference in the citation style that you selected. So let me go back to Zotero. Sometimes dragging and dropping can be hard. So another way to do this is just to go to the Edit menu, and you can do Copy Citation, which is the in-text citation, and then Copy Bibliography, which would be a reference. The next way to do this I'm going to show you is to create a citation or bibliography. So I'm going to go to Create Bibliography from Collection. And once again, you select the style. So I'm going to do APA 7th. You can do in-text citations or references, and then you have different options, including print. I'm just going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm just going to go back to Word and paste it. Okay. I do want to mention you can do that with just single items. You don't have to do entire collections. So I want to move on to the last method, which is the word processor integration. And this is probably what you'll use more frequently. So when you install the Zotero software, it will add a toolbar to Microsoft Word, to the desktop version of Word. There's also toolbars available for LibreOffice and Google Docs. Okay, let me try and make this a little bit bigger. I'm dealing with some controls that I wasn't expecting. Okay. All right, so basically I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first thing you need to do is click on Document Preferences. This is where you select the citation style that you want to work in. I'm going to do APA 7th. And then you place your cursor where you want to insert an in-text citation, and just click on this Add Citation button. You search for the corresponding item, select it from the result, and then you just press the Enter key, and that will put in an in-text citation. So I want to mention if you click on the in-text citation, you'll notice how it's showing up in gray. This means it contains field codes, and this is how Word and Zotero communicate with each other. And the important thing to understand is you don't want to type in any section that has gray. You want to use the Zotero functions to edit it. So for example, if I wanted to add in a page number, I would just click on it, click on the Edit Citation button, and then just click on the citation and a menu will pop up. So for example, if I wanted to add in the page number, I would do it here. And just press Enter to insert it, and now I have a page number. Okay, so I'm just going to place my cursor where I want to put an in-text citation, click on Add. Oops. Select the item that I want to add from the list of results. I do want to mention that you can edit at this point, you just click on it. So I'm going to omit the author, and then you click on Enter to add it. So it just will put the year in parentheses. And just a final variation of this, if you want to do what's called a citation group, you just type each item and add it, and it's just more than one source you're citing at the same time. If you want to remove something, you would just backspace here to get rid of it. Okay. So once you've inserted your in-text citations, you want to add in the reference list or the bibliography, and you can do this. Let me try that again. You can do this anytime after you've inserted the first citation. And, it will make mistakes, so you do need to check both your in-text citations and your reference list to make sure they're accurate. For example, the casing is a little off here. So what you need to do is you just go into Zotero, find the matching item. I'm just going to click on the three dots next to the title, and I can change it to sentence case. And I just go back to Word, and then I click on Refresh, and it will make the change. So now you'll see it's in sentence case. And finally, the last thing I'll mention, you can do this unlinked citations, and what you want to do is save a copy of your document with the field codes, and then you can click on unlinked citations and it'll create a version without the field codes. And you can do this if you want to do manual edits, or you want to do this before you submit a final version, either like in Canvas or to a publisher. You want to remove that link to the Zotero library. So I'm going to move on to the last function, which is sharing. And this is optional. So you can create a free web account. You just click on Login. And then you click here where it says Register for a free account. So I have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. So things always go wrong when you're trying to demonstrate things. Let's try that again. Okay. Okay, so this is the web account. And what you can do is you can actually sync the desktop version and the web account. And the way you do that is you go to Edit, you go to Settings, and then you go to Sync. And the first time you do this, there'll be two boxes, one to enter your username and your password, and that's what will connect the two versions. You can also unlink it if you don't want to do that. And then this is your sync button right here. If you click on this, this will create a copy of your desktop library in your web account. So why would you want to do this? One, it gives you a backup version of your library. So if your computer were to crash and you got a new computer, you could download the version from the cloud back to your desktop computer. Also, if you want to use Zotero on multiple computers, so for example, if you have a home computer and an office computer, you can sync both of them so you're pulling from the same library. And then also, if you want to share references with colleagues, you need to have your library in the cloud. And the way you do that is you click on Groups, and you do Create a New Group. and then you just select the matching ones. I do want to mention the closed membership and private membership. You do have to be invited to be part of those groups. Just to show you a real life example, I'm working on a project with some fellow librarians here at Troy, and you see there's 3 members in this group. It's private and only members can view and edit. And you can see we've all added some different items. But the way this works is once you've created a group, it will show up in the library of all your collaborators. And so if I add something to this group, it will show up in the libraries of the people I'm working with. And it's really, this is the best way to work on things together, because if you have separate references in each library, they have different numbers. And when you go to try to cite them, they'll show up like multiple times in the reference list. So this will make sure you're all working from the same set of references. And just the last thing I'll mention quickly is that Zotero has great documentation. So if you click on documentation, this is a help guide. And then I'm also available to do training and instruction for individuals and groups. So I know this was a very quick introduction to what Zotero can do, but I'm available to help if you need something a little bit slower and more geared to what you're doing. So at this point, I'm welcome questions.
Yeah, so we do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
We have 2 from Dr. Rice. The first one was, if I add an article from my computer drive, are you saying to manually add it and wait to see if it populates the identifying data? And you could go ahead and answer that, then I'll do the next one.
Okay, yes. If you have the journal article already on your computer as a PDF file, I would try to add it using the
Okay.
add file and see if it can retrieve the metadata. It's a little bit quicker.
Okay. And then the next question they asked is notes or tags the best way to search documents for keywords when I don't remember the author or titles, or is there a better way?
Okay. So just to explain what tags do, possibly, if you are going to use tags, I do recommend that you go into the settings, and it's under general, that you turn off the automatically tag items with keywords and subject headings, and then you delete what's there, and then you add your own tags. And then notes, once again, if you put it in the notes, if you create a note with the author or title, so I think not really. That's notes notes and tags have kind of a different function, but if you wanted to tag something with the author, you could. But it said, yes, you can use tags to do that as well. So if you want to make
Okay.
some type of note or some type of tag that has some meaning to you, you would be searching those, or you could use the tags over here. So I don't think I
Okay.
answered your question well, but play around with it and see if it would meet your needs. But yeah, it's another way to find things other than searching and sorting.
Okay. So the next question is from Jack Blunt that said, if we add link citations before uploading to Canvas, can we relink the code if needed? Or should we make a linked copy of our document before we unlink? And if we move things to trash, is that more like archiving or will they be completely lost?
Okay, so the first question was about unlinking the citations in the Word document, I think. So let me just go ahead and show this how you work. So as I said, you want to save a copy that has the field codes. So I'm going to just name it like field codes. Okay, so now I have a copy with the field codes, and then if you click on unlink, it creates a new version without it. So if you save the one with the field codes, you have both versions. Just keep in mind if you make changes here, though, it won't show up in the other document. And then I think you were asking about the trash, and I'm assuming maybe this is in the library. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to add this to the trash. So it will stay in the trash, but then you can empty the trash and that will get rid of it permanently. So hopefully I understood the context of those two questions. If not, let me know. Any
So
more
the other one
questions?
is Dr. Brewington said, if I create something in the web version, will it sync down to the desktop or does it only sync from desktop to web?
Okay. So as an example, I could add something using the identifier here. And what you can do is the sync button, anytime you make a change, you can just sync it and it would transfer it down to the desktop. So it works both ways. You just want to make sure you sync it or you click on refresh to have the changes show up.
Okay. And then Ishtiaq Khan said it how accurately does it create a reference as per APA 7 based on a PDF file upload?
Okay, so in computer science, we have a saying, garbage in, garbage out. So it depends how good the metadata was in the original PDF file. It depends how good the data was in the source that you collected it from. So it just depends on where it gets the information from. So some are terrible, some are really great. So it just depends. So if there's bad information in your records, it's going to output bad information in your citations. But like once the information is good in the records, it will output pretty reliably in the style. It's just what is in the record. Is it good stuff or bad stuff? So I don't know if that answered the question. As I said, it's just a tool, so you always have to double check it.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? You're free to, if it lets you unmute, or we can unmute you, or if you want to post a question in the chat. If there's no more questions, we did post a survey in the chat. Please fill it out. It helps us determine like future webinars and helps us, tell us how good we're doing or bad. But please do fill it out. We would appreciate it. Yes, there will be a recording. And I think that's yeah, there's a lot of appreciation for your answers. Um, Everyone said you answered them pretty well, the questions they had. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for attending.